SimWorld presents Around the Table with E and the Fat Man.
What's up, everybody? It's the B.O.B., and I'm here with my man E. E, how are you doing today?
Hey, Bob, I'm glad to be back on with you here on Around the Table.
Absolutely. This is Around the Table with E and the Fat Man. That is E. I'm the Fat Man, and this is the podcast we talk about whatever we want. Today, figured we would touch a little bit of base on, there's been a lot of talk of the Season 2 Mount Rushmore. Figured we'd talk a little bit about the maybe all-time Mount Rushmore and include if there's anybody in this season that might be able to knock a couple people off. So, E, let's start with you. Like, who do you think the all-time Mount Rushmore is? And maybe some honorable mentions.
Yeah, so there's no, that's fair because, there's a little bit of discussion about the all-time. I think that there are two guys whose names are absolutely hammered on here, and that's got to be Trey Turner. Went to 2 championship games, did some things behind the three-point line we may never see again. Cooper Kingy Cross being the other one, averaged more than a point a minute in the Ground Zero season. Then after that, there is a little bit of debate. I think that Tyson Simpson, for the 2 years he put in, and the things he did, is probably a name on there. But, there's a little bit of a debate around that one as well. Jamison Johnson from Ground Zero is probably your fourth person on there. But, other people do deserve some mention as well, I think. Certainly Johnny Baldwin, who, Bob, I know you'll remember from Ground Zero, is also somebody who deserves a little bit of consideration, I think, for those all-time top 4 spots. But, I think those are kind of like the top 5 guys, and I'd leave Baldwin just off of my own top 4 myself. And by the way, just throw it out there, too, and so people have a reference. For this season, I don't think there's much debate at all about who the 4 are. You're looking at Dylan Harper. You're looking at Trey Hyman. You're looking at, oh my gosh, I have to think right now. Who else did I put on the list, Bob?
Cooper Flagg.
Dylan Harper. Cooper Flagg, of course, definitely on there. One person who I left off who I really had been considering was Josiah Cook as well. Absolutely love that kid, just 15-year-old, love his game. Just kind of off list. So, these are your sort of all-timers in this year's set. And the question I think is, as much as anything, do any of the guys on this year's list have a chance of making the all-time list? Anybody who you think definitely is or is not in consideration, Bob?
Well, I think for sure Cooper Flagg's for sure in that list. With what Jafet Towns has done over the last, I don't know what, 3/4 of the season, because obviously in the beginning of the season we were questioning the reigning Trays. But what Jafet Towns has been able to do here with his 27.7 points a game, he's tied with Dylan Harper with most points per game. But Jafet Towns has carried this team. I think he has an argument to be on there as well. I would love to say Trey Hyman. Like, Trey Hyman does a lot of great things, but I don't know if his the awe that we have for him has run out. I hate to say that, but I mean, he's an amazing player, but I don't feel like people necessarily talked about him as being this all-world player like we did last season. I'm not sure why that is.
Is that well, no, I got a question. Let me interject, Bob, which is that, do you think that because I think you're right. My question, though, is, do you think that's Trey's fault, that his game has kind of dropped off, or that he just hasn't quite done enough to earn this kind of consideration? Or is that us? Is that shiny new toy syndrome, where it's like, oh, you've been around for a minute, we're used to you being a 7-foot athletic monster who dams the rim on a nightly basis?
Yeah, I would definitely say that is probably an us issue. At least in my opinion, it seems to be an us issue. So again, he should Trey Hyman be on that Mount Rushmore all time? Probably. I don't think there's really too much of a question. But like you said, I think the shiny toy syndrome that must have worn off for us, and hopefully we can get back to talking about him the way that he needs to be talked about. But yeah, I mean, for me, I think for sure Cooper Flag is going to end up on the all-time, just what he's been able to do for the Originators. And he's had one bad game all season, and we didn't get to see that game.
Yes. I
So,
know. We
um,
should.
yeah. So, yeah, I'd say for
Yeah,
sure.
I hear you. Well,
Go ahead.
oh, I was just going to say, because I think I'm with you, at least halfway. It's interesting. For me, the person who definitely deserves to be on the all-time top 4 list, the all-time Mount Rushmore, is, I think, Trey Hyman. And it's also because I evaluate, and again, I don't think this is entirely fair either, but like, for instance, I'm not really considering Dylan Harper. I don't, he's had a great year, great player. He's not even really in contention in my mind for the all-time Rushmore spot. And I think I devalue a little bit. And again, it's nothing he's really kind of like done or earned to be devalued, but he's just played this one season, and he's been great. He's our leading scorer. He's amazing. But the fact that Trey has done it over the course of 2 seasons now, it just does carry more weight for me. And for this reason, the interesting thing too is that it makes me feel bad that I'm not considering Japhet Towns as an all-timer. I'm top 4 anyway. He obviously is an all-time great player. But, I just don't know if Japhet's made quite the same impact over the course of his 2 seasons that Trey Hyman has. And then it brings me to Cooper Kingy Cross. I'm sorry, not Cooper Kingy Cross. Different Cooper. Cooper, listen to me. Cooper Flag. Hey, I saw CKC play that Ground Zero year, and if you did too, you know why he's still on your mind. But Flag, and great player, but at the end of the day, I mean, it is just one season. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but like, he's not even going to like lead the league in scoring or anything like that. He's going to be top 10.
Well, he has been all season until the last week.
He has. That's true. I shouldn't say he's not going to. I have a feeling he's not going to, but we'll see. Anyway, I don't know, Bob. I don't know if he's quite done enough for me. In the course of just this one, and you really have to show out in the course of one season too, I think, to make this list is the reality. I don't know. If Flag quite made it or not. Trey Hyman absolutely does. Oh, I want to mention, I talked about Josiah Cook, right outside of, the season 2 Rushmore list, number 5 position, probably. He's not on there yet, but I will be. I'm willing to bet anybody, DM me if you want to bet. Because I want to bet that by the time his career is over, he's going to be on that list. So, bring on Josiah Cook. But the only person I'm sure I'd put on right now is Trey. I'm not dead sure I'd put Flag on. And here's the question to close this out on, Bob. So we have at least one, if not 2, people to add to the all-time Rushmore. Who are you taking off? Who's that leave as your final 4? From all time? If you're putting 2 guys on, I only have to throw 1 guy off.
I would say, thinking about it a little bit, if I were to do if things continue the way that they are right now, if I were to do an all-time Mount Rushmore, it would be CKC. It would be, why am I drawing a blank? Help me, Eric.
Ray.
I lost the name.
Ray.
So we got
Ray Turner, yes?
Yeah. Sorry, you're saying Trey, and I'm like, Trey Hyman.
Right?
I'm like, I know Trey Hyman, but that's not who I'm thinking. CKC, Trey Turner, Trey Hyman, Cooper Flag. If things continue the way they are, that would be my all-time Mount Rushmore for SimWorld Prep.
Wow. No, that's a good one. Ooh. You know what? I'm going to hold fire on Flag. I'm not ready to put his name on there yet. But you got the first 3 right. Trey Hyman, Trey Turner, Cooper Kingy Cross, and for now, for the moment, I am keeping Jamison Johnson on my all-time top 4. Just played that 1 year, just his first year, the Ground Zero year, before moving on to Kentucky. But at the moment, I still got him a nose ahead of Cooper Flag. But hey, there's still some more SimWorld season. We're in the thick of it, Bob. There's still plenty of time for somebody to emerge and make their claim. We're not in the middle of the NFL season, but the scouting combine has kicked off. Players running their 40-yard dashes.
What's the NFL?
Doing their cone drills.
What is that? What is the NFL?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's WFL.
Thank you.
Apologies. Apologies. It's early. I'm out on the West Coast. You're on the East Coast. Your day's been going for a while. I'm still like trying to get the gears to crank over here. But anyway, that was a beautiful transition I was doing too, man.
It was great.
Anyway, it was, right? It was smooth. It was
Mm.
real nice segue. I'm switching to the world of football is what I'm saying. For people out there who don't know, Bob is a big Vikings fan. When I recently commented on Discord about the legendary Herschel Walker trade, where Minnesota traded us
I
100
ignored
draft
it.
picks for Herschel Walker back in the day.
I ignored it.
That probably, yeah, that. What Bob means by ignored it is that made his blood boil. But anyway, to bring it back, Bob, Minnesota Vikings, interesting situation this offseason. Some changes happening. Questions: is Kirk Cousins coming back? It looks like Alexander Madison is out the door. What are your hopes and dreams for Minnesota in the 2024 offseason?
I want us to figure out how to retain Daniil Hunter and Justin Jefferson.
Mm,
Those are my two. Those are my top two
yeah.
priorities. Um, Bringing back Kirk Cousins is a priority, but I want to get the other two done first and then see
Okay.
what we can do. I don't think in the draft where we are positioned right now at 11, I don't think that there is a quarterback at that point that I would be willing to take a flyer on, unless for some reason Caleb Williams drops,
Yeah.
and maybe Drake May. Um,
No.
I
Oh
don't
no,
want
they're
to.
going 1-2.
Yeah, rumors are that the Vikings are looking to trade up into the 3 spot. I feel like that we're going to
Well,
have to give up way too much
Jaden,
to get up there. And I
Jaden,
wouldn't be
Jaden,
willing to do it.
Jaden Daniels.
Yeah,
Jaden Daniels, would that be the player, the quarterback? Yeah.
uh, I mean, right now I don't know because there's some people that Drake May going to number 3 at the Patriots. So you never know. That number 1 spot seems to be the only one that has been solidified with Caleb Williams. Um, I people talk about us potentially getting JJ McCarthy, but
Yeah,
Michigan is
at
one of the
11, I was thinking of him. He could
Michigan
be
is
there.
one of those schools where I don't want a quarterback from Michigan. I don't want a quarterback from Michigan. I don't want a quarterback from USC. Except obviously Caleb
Ohio
Williams.
State.
Caleb Williams has he's a little different, but since Carson Palmer, and we're
Yeah.
not going to say Carson Palmer wasn't this amazing quarterback in the NFL, but he was serviceable.
Had a nice career. Had a nice
He had a
career.
nice career. I would have loved to have Carson Palmer after Dante Culpepper, but we didn't have that.
Yeah.
I'll still take that year and a half
No.
of Brett Favre, but um, but yeah, I mean, I don't at number 11. I don't want us taking JJ McCarthy. I wouldn't be surprised if we traded back a little bit, picked up some more draft capital, but yeah, again, Daniil Hunter, Justin Jefferson, those are my top two must-haves right now, and hopefully, I don't think um, the Buccaneers franchise tagged Antoine Winfield Jr., and I would welcome another Winfield to
Mhm.
the Minnesota Vikings secondary for sure.
Okay. Okay.
How about
I
you for the
like it. So
Cowboys?
I meant
I've seen some rumors that Tyron Smith is not coming back to the Cowboys. That offensive line doesn't. I don't know what it's going to look
yeah.
like next year.
You know, yeah, well, look, I mean, at some point and in some way, we're gonna have to move on from Tyron. And Tyron's been great. He's a Hall of Famer. He should be a Ring of Honor at Texas Stadium kind of guy, Cowboy Stadium. But is this is he just completed his 14th season. A remarkably healthy 14th season for him. But he misses games too. And look, Tyron's a beast. I'm not sure he's not coming back. I've seen the recent press headlines too. I think that might be a little bit of just paper noise. If you actually look at what Jerry Jones at least has said about the situation, there's reason to be more optimistic that he'll be coming back. Um, so there's that. Look, I mean, I think that we're going to load it up again and make another run. The Cowboys went 13-4 last year, I believe. I believe that was our regular season record. Obviously had a flame out in the playoffs. And look, that's a problem, and that's a real thing. It's all about winning when you get that late in the year. And at the same time, I don't know. We had one terrible game. We had one terrible game. It was the worst game we played all year. I'm pretty sure. Green Bay just, was fortunate to run into a Dallas team that was just not playing well. But in terms of, the off season and what we can do, I think we're going to be bringing a couple guys back, and much like talking about your own free agents, we have some of those I want to bring back in house. Number one name on the list is Stephon Gilmore. When we lost Diggs last year, Gilmore stepped up and was great, and I would love to have him for one more season. And then, sort of beyond that, I think unless Tony Pollard agrees to a deal for a lot less money than the 10 million franchise tag he played on last year, he might get half that from us, but otherwise we're moving on.
Yeah.
So at some point in the draft, we're probably adding a young running back, a second or third round guy who can come in day one and contribute. I could see that happening for sure. And then I think the other thing that I think most needs to be addressed, Dan Quinn, our defensive coordinator, is gone. Considering how the defense played in that Green Bay playoff game, I went from a Dan Quinn lover to if this is the end of your time, I'm comfortable with it kind of position. I'll put it that way. We have a familiar Vikings name, Mike Zimmer, coming in to run the defense. He plays a little bit more of a traditional style with bigger players. Quinn kind of went for smaller, more fly around, create turnovers kind of guys. Quinn is a more traditional, prototype kind of bodies for linebacker, D-line kind of positions. And, one problem with the Quinn defense over the past couple of years has been eventually somebody runs us over on the ground. And it was just Aaron Jones and the Packers who did it this last year. And, before then it's been other dudes. But I think we need to beef up our linebacker core and possibly, our defensive ends are pretty good. We're pretty good about getting to the quarterback, actually. We're great at it. But we just don't clog lanes and we don't stop the run. And I think you need one of those big, just like Chris Jones, 350-pound little refrigerator tanks in the trenches down there, just to prevent dude like a Chris Jones, or it was CJ Anderson one year, I remember, just running the ball down our throat. So some beefy run stoppers, and let's get Gilmore back on the defense. I'm not worried about the offense. The offense is great. The offense can score 30 or 40 a game. We just can't have the likes of the Packers putting up 46 on us anymore come January.
Who's Dak Prescott going to play for in 2025?
Probably the Dallas Cowboys. He probably renegotiates his deal this year, makes it a little bit more cap room friendly, and is probably a Cowboy for years to come, is my guess. Most likely. 25, 26, 27, probably Dak Prescott.
If I was running the Cowboys, my number one priority was figuring out how to give Mike Parsons a lifetime contract. It's like the Vikings. Give Justin Jefferson a lifetime contract.
Yeah. No, Parsons is great. He talk about Cowboy for life. Talk about with Dak. Yeah, he should never be playing anywhere other than without a star on his helmet. That's right.
Well, I appreciate you on here as always. Do you have any final words for the people?
No, just got a good week coming up here on SimWorld TV. We've had a little video break, but we are back come Tuesday, so be sure to tune in back in there on that. And just looking forward to getting some good SimWorld action back on the air.
Well, I appreciate you as always, Ian. I hope everybody has a great rest of their weekend.
Later, folks.